Hi, my name's Cottrell. I'm a dog behaviourist and my company's Dog Trouble. So there's a lot of controversy at the moment about various training methods to train and rehabilitate dogs. So I thought I'd put together a short video to go through the various methods that I use and why I use them. So as I've spoken before, dogs have three drives. They have pack drive, their ability to follow, their desire to follow. They have prey drive, their desire to hunt, chase or play. And defense drive, either defense fight, which might be low-level barking, to full-on wanting to attack, or defense flight, their desire when they feel challenged to run away from a situation. So when I work with the dog, I look at those drives and assess what drives they're high or low in, because that will depict how easy or hard they are to motivate to learn, and it will also depict what training methods I have to use when I'm training them and rehabilitating them. So what I've done is just brought my pack out, some of my pack, and I've trained them all through different methods because some have a very high prey drive. So Ruby, who is here, she's from Greece, and her desire to hunt is very, very high. So she'll often be out ahead of me when I'm walking. She'll be in prey drive most of the time. And even though she's food driven, she's not food driven if she sees a deer or a rabbit. And then I've got Bentley, my lurcher here, and he's got a super high pack drive. So his desire to follow is quite high, but he also has quite a high prey drive. So if he saw something, he would go after and chase it. And then I've got Ernie. Psst. Ernie, come. Then I've got Ernie. Ernie, come. Good boy. Leave him. Leave him. Good boy. So Ernie has a super high pack drive, and he's very, very food driven. So he will come quite often just for food because his desire for food is a lot higher than his desire to chase. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go for a walk, and I'm just going to show you the various methods in which I recall them back to me when they're off lead. And this is really important because this is what a lot of people are criticizing. Like humans, dogs learn through various methods of teaching. So like humans, they won't all learn in the same way. People don't learn in the same way, and dogs are the same. They don't learn in the same way. So why keep using the same methods with a dog that isn't food driven to try and teach them if they're not a dog that is food driven? It's never going to work. And when I'm working with dogs, I teach owners how to develop respect and trust between them and their dog. And if I'm cruel or instill fear in that dog is never going to respect you. That dog is never going to trust you. And so I have nothing to gain from instilling fear and pain into that dog. So as we're walking, you're just going to see how I recall some of the dogs and the various methods I use. And the reason I use the different methods is because they're different personalities. They've got different drives, and they all respond to a different method of training. So we're just going to head up here. Let's go, guys! Ruby! Thea, let's go! So with Ruby here, who's got a super high prey drive, I've got her on a remote training collar. So as you can see, she's way out in front and she wants to hunt. So to recall her, I'll just use the remote training collar, and she's set really low. Ruby, come! And then when she comes into me, I'll start just giving her a treat reward. And the reason I do that is because I want her to eventually, Ruby, come, eventually learn that when she comes to me, she'll get a food reward. Come, good girl, sit. Good girl. But if I was just to call her without using the remote training collar and she saw a rabbit, there's no way she'd come back to me. She's not interested in the food, she's interested in the hunt and the chase and the kill, okay? So Bear, my new dog here, he's about 6 months, typical Labrador. He's super, super food driven. So as soon as he knows I've got food, he'll stay quite close to me. So I can recall him just using food. Bear, come. Bear, come. Good boy, sit. But as you can see, his food drive is very, very high. And he's very obsessed with food. So what I'm trying to teach him to do is come in softly to me and not grab the treat out of my hand, and to sit respectfully like he is, and then he gets the reward. boy. Let's go. Ruby, come. So you can see Ruby's way up there because I've taken my eye off her for a minute. Ruby, come. So I've just tapped the remote, called her in. Ruby, come. Ruby, come. So she's always pushing. Ruby, come. Ruby, come. So she's always pushing to continue in prey drive because that is the drive that she's really high in. She has a super low pack drive, so her desire to follow me is pretty much zero, but her desire to hunt is really, really high. And then if you watch Ernie, come. Ernie's got a super high food drive, so like Bear, sit, sit, stay, stay. Bear, sit. Shh, Good boy. Let's go. Okay, we're just going to head round this way. So if you look at the dogs and see what drives they're in, I'm happy for my dogs to be away from me. They're not running off after something. This is what it's about. It's about allowing your dog to be a dog. I don't want a dog that's a robot pinned next to me all the time. I want a dog that naturally can be a dog and can sniff around and go and interact with other dogs and sniff and play. But when I want them to come, they need to be able to come because the safety factor is massive. If I've got dogs off lead and I haven't found a method that works to recall them, that has huge implications. That can mean that they might run across a road chasing after something. That might mean that they run towards a dog that is off lead, that isn't sociable, and actually they end up getting attacked. So it's really important that recall is achieved with a dog before you let them off, and you find that method of training that really motivates them and instills them to come back to you. So we're going to head round there to where it's rabbit and deer sanctuary. Let's go! Let's go, dear! So as you can see, they're all now following. Ernie, let's go! Ernie! Good boy! Good boy, Ernie, come. Sit. Sit. Good boy. Let's go. Now Freddie here, my three-legged Jack Russell, he is super obsessed with squeaky toys. But the problem is, if I get a squeaky toy out, it sends him into prey drive to the point where he wants to attack it and kill it. And if another dog came into him whilst he's got the toy, he would probably react to it. Because this squeak sends him into hunting behaviour. Okay, so even though it recalls him, it puts him in prey drive mentally, and that's not what I want. I want him to come to me calmly. So he's also food driven. So if I use food with him as well, it creates a softer recall and him coming into me in a much calmer, respectful state. Let's go, guys. Ruby. Here. Let's go. Away. Let's go. Away. So as you can see, they're all now in pack drive. They're following me. They're not stuck to my side, but they're following my lead. And that's what I want when I'm working with a dog. And then when they start to go too far ahead of me in prey drive, I'll just recall. Ruby, come. So that time I didn't use the remote collar. I just used my voice. Because I've used a remote training collar with Ruby for about 2 years to build that recall, I don't always have to use it every time. And that's what I want to get to. I want to get to the point where I might have the remote collar on her, but not have to use it every time. So I can start to, Ruby, come. Start to just recall her on my voice. There's that savvy Labrador again. Whenever there's food around, he's here. Find it, find it. Good boy. Okay, let's go. So what I don't understand is why there's so many people, extremists I call them, and they're not balanced people. And they're always going to be in the world. You're never going to convince those people that various training methods work with dogs. Those people are never going to be convinced. But yet, they're quite happy making people feel threatened and threatening them and making them feel awful about the methods that they're using to train or rehabilitate their dogs. I don't care what methods other people use. What I care about is the dog. So is the dog respectful of me? Does the dog trust me? Is the dog happy? Are they doing what I want them to do? Yes, they are. So what does it matter what training method I use? Why is it anybody's business? And the problem we have in this country and worldwide is that we have these extremists that are destined to make people feel awful about the methods they're using to train and rehabilitate their dogs. And some of them are making them feel so awful that they won't try other methods. And the only alternative is that dog gets euthanized. And there's lots of rescue organizations in this country that won't listen to trainers like myself who use a variety of training methods to help rehabilitate a dog. They won't listen to us, and yet they're happy when their training methods don't work to condemn that dog to death because they can't help that dog. So therefore they deem that that dog is beyond help and beyond rehabilitation. And that is wrong. That is wrong. So instead of criticizing other people, why don't we all work together? Why don't we embrace all of these training methods? And why don't we stay focused about the most important thing? And the most important thing is this dog happy and balanced? Are we able to give this dog a life? Yes, we are. But we might not use food to do it because that dog isn't motivated by food in certain situations. So why don't we embrace all the various methods instead of criticizing people that might use something different? Why don't we embrace those methods and really focus on saving dogs' lives? Okay.